I cheated on my husband for over a year before I learned he started his own affair. I treated him like a prisoner until he found out what I was hiding. My name is Claire, and everyone who knew me in school would probably describe me as dependable, the girl who kept a color-coded planner and finished group projects 2 days early. I fell for Mark in 9th grade chemistry after he lent me a graphing calculator without being asked. We dated through senior year, separated for most of college, then slipped back together during spring of senior year when both of us realized no one else fit quite the same. At 25, we married in a banquet hall filled with mason jars and wildflowers because a bridal magazine said that themes seemed authentic. Within 12 months, we rescued a beagle named Baxter, signed a mortgage on a modest brick ranch near Nashville, and started saving for a baby, though our idea of adult dinner involved boxed macaroni. Motherhood arrived like a tidal surge. Our son was born 9 months and 1 week after the wedding. My body felt foreign, my days blurred into feedings and laundry, and intimacy dropped from spontaneous laughter on the sofa to scheduled duty once a month. Friends called that phase normal, yet normal felt like slow grief disguised as comfort. 3 days a week, I worked in a small marketing office to keep my resume alive. That is where I met Steve. He was a contract analyst in his early 40s, quick with a dry joke, utterly uninterested in the brand new mom stories my coworkers shared over coffee. When he offered to bring me lunch from the food truck park, something tightened in my stomach. I told myself it was innocent friendship, yet that evening, I replayed his compliment over and over while burping a baby in the glow of the refrigerator light. After 2 months of restrained flirting, Steve walked me to my car. He thanked me for editing his slide deck, brushed a stray hair from my sleeve, and kissed me once, soft, shocking. Guilt slapped me. I cried driving home, then tossed the memory onto a mental burn pile. 2 weeks later, we met at a budget hotel on the edge of town. Steve promised he was not looking to ruin families, only to feel alive for an hour at a time. The honesty of that arrangement felt persuasive. We met once every few weeks, always at night, always miles away from my neighborhood, never sharing real life beyond the room. At home, I boxed up shame, told myself that I gave Mark the best of me, and convinced myself that occasional secrecy hurt no one. When I learned I was pregnant again, I panicked. I ended all contact with Steve, blocked his number, buried myself in prenatal routines, and counted days until I was certain the baby belonged to Mark. He smiled at sonogram photos and promised to work harder for all of us. By the time our daughter slept through each night, Mark's career consumed him. He earned certifications, boarded flights, and came home exhausted, souvenirs in hand. We parented in shifts. Our marriage became a polite enterprise. One restless Tuesday, I looked at Steve's name in my blocked contacts. I unblocked him just to see his profile picture, and within minutes he sent a simple message, "Still miss our secret." The spark flared to life. We met in my minivan behind a bookstore and kissed with the hunger of people who owed each other nothing. That kiss led back to hotel rooms and periodic emails full of fantasies that made my cheeks flush in grocery lines. I told myself Mark had chosen work over me, so my choice balanced the scales, an excuse hollow enough to echo. My double life lasted more than a year. Then, a single accidental click collapsed the system. One quiet evening, I paid bills on Mark's laptop while he showered. A window opened on the screen and froze. It showed my husband in a hotel bed with a brunette, whose name he said like a prayer. Shock became molten anger. I slammed the laptop shut, breath caught, and suddenly felt justified for every lie I had told. Mark had betrayed me too, so my own infidelity could wear the costume of revenge. I confronted him at breakfast. He confessed, wept, swore the affair meant nothing, and begged for a chance to fix our broken intimacy. In that moment, fear guided me more than fury. If I revealed my own affair, I would lose the moral ground and maybe my children. I stayed silent about Steve and instead built rigid rules for Mark. No video games, no happy hours, no social media, immediate responses to every text, full access to his email and phone. He accepted every condition. I told myself this strict plan would rebuild trust, yet privately I kept emailing Steve. The thrill of stolen words and the control over Mark's daily life created a warped balance that felt almost safe. 2 years passed. Mark complied with every restriction, but intimacy never returned. We tried couples counseling at my insistence. After a handful of sessions, the therapist suggested easing restrictions, since Mark demonstrated consistent honesty. Her recommendation threatened my carefully managed structure. I quit therapy, claiming I needed privacy. Weeks later, I arranged another secret meeting with Steve. Part of me wanted closure. Part of me wanted proof that excitement still existed somewhere in my universe. That night, I told Mark I would watch a late movie with a friend. After the credits rolled, I drove to a chain hotel near the interstate where Steve waited. We were together for less than an hour. I ignored the phone vibrating in my purse because I did not want guilt spoiling the fantasy. I arrived home around 1 in the morning, coat barely off, when Mark looked up from the sofa and said, "How is Steve doing?" His voice was so calm that my knees went weak. I opened my mouth to bluff, failed, opened it again, and realized he knew. He did not yell. He simply explained he had evidence. He would not say how he obtained it. He asked one question: why did I hide my affair when I confronted him about his own? I could not answer without admitting cowardice. Mark picked up an overnight bag and walked out. He slept at a hotel that night, and by Monday he had a lawyer. I begged him to explain how he discovered my secret. He refused, telling me the method no longer mattered. What mattered was truth, and he now had enough of it to make decisions. His refusal haunted me. I imagined a friend had tipped him off, or perhaps a receipt had fallen from my purse. He never would tell me how he found out. He left that mystery intact, one final lock on the door he closed between us. He moved to an apartment near the Greenway. He filed for divorce and demanded DNA tests for our daughter and son. The wait for results felt like waterboarding. When the tests proved both children were his, I cried until I could not breathe, humbled by relief I did not deserve. Mark remained courteous yet distant while we sorted finances. I kept the house, refinanced the mortgage, and juggled bills. The children now shuttle between 2 homes. They seem resilient, though I spot confusion sometimes in their eyes. Steve never returned my texts after Mark confronted me. My phone felt lighter without constant secrets, yet loneliness hit like winter air. I started individual counseling and finally spoke every detail out loud. The counselor said my strict surveillance of Mark had been a method to hide my own guilt. I started journaling each lie I told. The list filled pages until I wept over the weight of ink. Mark appears content in photos mutual friends post, biking with colleagues, cooking fajitas in a bright kitchen, smiling beside a woman named Laura. He never brags. He simply looks calm. I sent him an email apologizing genuinely and asking if we might meet for coffee. He replied politely that he wishes me well but needs space to stay healthy. That boundary feels painful yet wise. I deleted Steve's number, closed the email account, and set my phone to bedtime mode at 9 o'clock. I volunteer at the children's school and learn to cook without boxed shortcuts. I teach my son and daughter that honesty means more than avoiding punishment. I tell them boredom should never be feared. Sometimes routine is the stage where love practices until it sings. Mark arrives every other Friday at 6:30 in the evening to pick up the kids. When he steps onto the porch, I hand over backpacks and smile. We exchange simple updates without bitterness. Once, as he buckled our daughter into her seat, she asked if people can still care about each other after they stop living together. He answered gently, "Of course, caring never ends." I closed the front door and cried, grateful for his grace. I cannot erase my choices, but I can choose each new minute. I mark days on a calendar the old-fashioned way with pen, counting honesty instead of deception. Today is day 146. My therapist says recovery is not about resetting the past. It is about refusing to repeat it. I still miss the vision I built with Mark, yet I accept that the vision broke because my foundations were hollow. The children deserve a mother who teaches truth through action, so routine has become my discipline. Pancakes every Saturday, bedtime stories without screens, evening walks with Baxter beneath streetlights. If someday I build a relationship with someone new, I will welcome predictable evenings and ordinary mornings. I will cherish boredom because boredom is not a prison. It is the breathing room where intimacy grows without fear. Should the air start to feel 5 degrees too cold, I will speak up instead of searching for secret doors. Mark once wanted the same honesty from me. I learned that secrets rot the structure from the inside out. Now I choose light in every corner, even the dull corners that used to terrify me.